Niners fans, it's about that time. 5 o'clock on a Sunday. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. How's everyone doing out there on a Sunday? It's, of course, great to be in the presence of the best fans in the NFL. The faithful, the Niner Empire. It's good to be on with you guys today. Like I said, on a Sunday. Hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. And shout out to everyone watching on that good old Spotlight Sports Network. And shout out to everyone watching on Jay in the Bay YouTube channel. And I appreciate everyone liking the stream, subscribing to Jay in the Bay, IG, Twitter, all that good stuff. But hot diggity dog, faithful. This is crazy. I thought today was going to be a slow day for news, and I saw the notification on my phone about 8:50 in the morning that Julio Jones was traded. Julio was traded from the Atlanta Falcons to the Tennessee Titans. I believe it's for the Titans offered up the Falcons a second and a fourth round pick, second in 2022, fourth round pick in 2023. And the Falcons sent Julio Jones and a 6th round pick to the Tennessee Titans. So clearly, Tennessee Titans have gotten better. I obviously wish that the 49ers would have, been able to get Julio Jones. I definitely wish that. But, clearly that didn't come to fruition. But it is nice. So the bright side of it is, Julio Jones is not in the NFC West. So the 49ers will not have to play against Julio Jones. And, that's definitely a win right there. I obviously think that we should upgrade, continue to look at upgrading the wide receiver position. But what are you guys' thoughts? Let me know in them comments. Let me know what you guys think about the Julio Jones trade. Are you disappointed? Were you guys never interested in Julio Jones? Let me know in the comment section. And this show is nothing without the fans. And of course, this show, I welcome any fan of the NFL. Any fan of the NFL is welcome to join the show. And I love seeing people in the comment section. I love conversing with the fans. And let's get to the people in them comments. Let's talk to the people, see how they doing. First person I see, Brady Ching. What's good? How you doing, Brady? How's your Sunday going? 49er faithful. What's good? How you doing, man? Thanks for staying faithful, man. It's like Niner faithful has an opinion on that Julio Jones trade. He says, "Thank you, Titans, for beating out the Seahawks for Julio." I agree, man. Could you imagine the Seahawks already got Russ, they already got DK, they already got Lockett. You imagine if they got Julio too? I mean, man, that would have made obviously the matchup against the Seahawks even tougher. And I'm glad that obviously I wish we would have been able to win the Julio Jones sweepstakes, but I'm glad that no other team in the NFC West got Julio. So, but the interesting part about that is now that, we're no longer in the Julio Jones sweepstakes, now we can look to sign possibly another receiver, or we can add another free agent in the offseason. And that's definitely something I'm going to talk about later in this video. The Sports Star, what's good? How you doing, man? I like your new logo. It looks tight, man. The person who did that did an excellent job, man. Thank you, the Sports Star, for coming through, saying what's good. And with the Julio Jones trade to the Titans, I think the Titans were still a good team. I don't know if they're a Super Bowl contender now with Julio. I mean, the Titans' issue, it seemed like, was their defense last year. I remember last year, the Titans' defense, I believe they were like the worst team in sacks from a defensive standpoint. So they couldn't get after the quarterback. That was definitely an issue for the Titans. So clearly, Getting Julio Jones doesn't solve that, but it's a wise decision. Especially you only have to give up a second and a fourth round pick to get Julio Jones, who's still an excellent player. He's still very productive. So that's definitely a good move for them good old Tennessee Titans. 49er Faithful says if the Seahawks got Julio, we can't double both him and DK because they would have Lockett running the slot. Exactly. I mean, that Seahawks offense would have definitely, they would have leveled up for sure. They definitely would have leveled up if they got Julio. Fortunately, that didn't come to pass. And, with the Seahawks, their issue was basically the running game. When Chris Carson gets hurt, he's in and out of the lineup. They can't get an established or consistent running game. And then Russell Wilson feels like he has to do everything on his own. So, but yeah, that's a great point, 49er Faithful. And I'm glad Julio is not in the NFC West. And since Julio is no longer an option, which free agent should the 49ers sign? That's a question I have for you guys in the chat, you guys and girls in the chat. I believe we have about $17 million in cap space, and we have a few of our rookie draft picks who have not been signed yet. So we might have like maybe about 8 to 10 mil in salary cap to play with. So that leaves an opportunity for another player to add. I was thinking edge rusher, Justin Houston. He could be a good option for the 49ers. I'm surprised he's still on the market, Justin Houston. He had a, excellent 2 years with the Indianapolis Colts. I believe he had 18 sacks, played every game. So it could be Justin Houston wants a certain salary figure and other teams aren't willing, to meet his salary demand. So Justin Houston could be an option for a veteran pass rusher. Because that's definitely something we'll need. I'm not sure what we'll get from D Ford going forward. Nick Bosa is rehabbing that torn ACL. We shouldn't have him play 100% of the snaps. So I think Justin Houston could be a viable option. I mean, at the receiver position, since Julio's gone, OBJ is out there. It seemed like, and I say OBJ because it seemed like the Cleveland Browns offense just ran better without OBJ. The Browns were focusing on running the ball consistently, and Baker wasn't forcing the ball to OBJ. And that was definitely something that the Niners could look into, maybe getting OBJ. Now, I know OBJ has a torn ACL, so he's rehabbing that. And that's definitely an issue. And the wide receivers that are still left at this point, are a lot of players that have gotten injured in the season and they're still rehabbing. For instance, D.D. Westbrook, he's a wide receiver who was productive with the Jags, but he had a torn ACL. So he's rehabbing from that. I was even thinking about Golden Tate, but if you look at his stats the last few years, he just hasn't been available. He's been battling injuries. And the Niners don't need to bring in an injury-prone player. And I say injury-prone when a player consistently misses multiple games each season. I think that's what an injury-prone player is to me. That's what I saw with Golden Tate. D.D. Westbrook, he pretty much just, he got hurt last year, but every other year before that, he played majority of the game. So, that could be an option just to bring in, to bring in Julio, or excuse me, bring in Julio. That's not an option no more. To bring in D.D. Westbrook, maybe inquire to the Cleveland Browns about Odell Beckham Jr. He's only got 1 year left on his contract, OBJ. And yeah, who else do you think the Niners should bring in since Julio is no longer an option? Livy's World, what's good? How you doing, Livy's World? Thanks for tuning in to your boy, Jay in the Bay. I appreciate you coming on, Livy's World. You continue to support the channel. I appreciate you. It's Golden Grizz. What's good? How you doing, man? Keep pushing out that excellent content. And I appreciate you coming through today. We got a superstar in the building, the Snake Sports Talk Show, coming through from that good old Spotlight Sports Network. What's good? Thanks for tuning in, Snake. Keep doing what you're doing. I see you on them hockey highlights. You be geeked up. And it's exciting to see. I don't even like hockey, but I will watch when you talk about the hockey game. You explain what's going on. You announce the hockey games. It's exciting to see. If you guys like hockey, check out that good old Spotlight Sports Network with the Snake Sports Talk Show. He's a Las Vegas hockey fan, so keep doing what you're doing, Snake. You're doing an excellent job. 49er Faithful says, I would say we have Richie James or Jalen Hurd when he's healthy at wide receiver 3. Now, that's a great point, 49er Faithful. It seems like the Niners are content with the wide receivers we have in the wide receiver room. So that includes obviously past Ayuk, past Debo, past Kittle. Those are our 3 best wide receivers, or our 3 best pass catchers. Next would be, as you mentioned, Richie James, Jalen Hurd, Jawan Jennings, Travis Benjamin, Mohamed Sanu, Austin Watkins, the undrafted free agent, Trent Sherfield, but he seems like more of a special teams guy. And speaking of wide receivers, the 49ers are scheduled to work out a Canadian wide receiver next week. Let's see. The 49ers are scheduled to work out Canadian wide receiver Javon Cote. He's played in the Canadian Football League the past few years. He's 6'5", 230 pounds. Last year, he didn't play because the season was canceled due to COVID, but that could be a viable option as well. Javon Cote. We'll see what he brings to the table when the Niners bring him in for a workout next week. But it seems more and more that the Niners are content with the wide receiver room. And if we have Hurd, Jennings, and Richie James, all 3 of them are healthy, and they can replicate the season that Kendrick Bourne had last year. I mean, I think that's pretty good for the wide receivers we currently have in the room. And I think I at this point I'm content with that. You just got to hope that these that Jennings and Hurd will be healthy. So. Nuz Hard Sports, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. How you doing on this Sunday? Let's see. Nuzar Sports says, I would have thought Patriots would go after Julio. Yeah, I heard the Patriots were interested in Julio Jones. It seemed like the Falcons did not want to trade Julio to an NFC conference team, which makes a lot of sense. So that's why the Titans were rumored to be interested. The Patriots, the Ravens. That makes sense from a Falcon standpoint. You don't want to trade him in conference. So, but we'll see how Julio elevates that team with the Tennessee Titans. Damian Lee, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. He says, Zach Ertz. Enough said. No, I agree. Since Julio's no longer on the table, we will need another playmaker. And why not get Zach Ertz? I believe he's only 30 years old. I'm sure he's looking for a new scenery, a new team, because it kind of ended bad with him and the Philadelphia Eagles. And, we know that George Kittle, Debo Samuel, they play a certain style. They're very physical. But unfortunately, that style will limit your availability in future games. So we need to get another playmaker where there's not a significant drop-off between Kittle and the next tight end. And Zach Ertz will fit right in. He's definitely one of the better pass-catching tight ends over the last 5 years, easy. He's 30 years old. We wouldn't sign him to a long-term extension or nothing like that. It would be like a 1-year deal. But I think that would definitely be a good move, Damian. Looks like Nuzart Sports says, but Titans wouldn't make any sense for them to go after Julio Jones. Well, they have A.J. Brown. Obviously, they got Derrick Henry. And last year they had Corey Davis, wide receiver, but he wasn't re-signed. So they wanted to add another wide receiver to match up with A.J. Brown. So they got Julio Jones, Julio Jones, no doubt, will elevate the wide receiver room with the Titans. You could argue that the Titans' needs weren't offense, and I agree with you that. They need a pass rusher on defense, but, Julio is still a very productive receiver, and, why not make your offense one of the best in the NFL? Let's see. It's Golden Grizz. YouTube says, how do you feel about the Titans getting Julio? I'm disappointed that the Niners, didn't get Julio. But I understand I think the Niners and every NFC team who is interested in Julio would have to pay a higher price in order to get Julio because we're in the NFC and that's the same conference as the Falcons. So now if the Niners offered a first round pick, that's kind of high for a 33-year-old receiver with 3 years left on his contract. But I'm glad no team in the NFC West got Julio. And I think it's a good trade for the Titans. I mean, you only give up a second and a fourth round pick. I don't think the Titans will draft a receiver in the second or fourth round within the next 2 years that's going to be better the first year than Julio Jones is. So, draft picks, draft picks are assets, but it's a crapshoot with the draft. There's no exact science. Some guys fall. Look at George Kittle. George Kittle, the best tight end in the NFL. He fell all the way to the 5th round. Like if that draft was redone, Kittle will probably be like a top 2, top 3 draft pick. So, sometimes picks pan out, sometimes they don't. Like look at the Niners. When was the last time prior to Lynch coming aboard with Shanahan? When was the last time the Niners drafted a good wide receiver? I believe the last one was probably Michael Crabtree prior to Lynch and Shanahan joining the Niners. So you just never know. Some players pan out, some players don't. But I think that's definitely a good move by the Titans. Yeah, and I agree, 49er faithful. Trent will probably be our punt returner. Yeah, I agree because he seems more of a special teams player, and that's definitely an area where we were lacking the last few years. I don't know about you, 49er faithful, but Jet McKinnon, he ain't cutting it. Jet McKinnon just, he left a lot to be desired in the special teams room, and I think that's why he's not on the team this year. But I hope the best for Jet McKinnon. Hopefully he continues to have a good career. I believe he's with the Chiefs now, I believe. So, but yeah, Trent should be our punt returner, and maybe even Elijah Mitchell, the running back we got out of the 6th round. He's fast, and that's definitely a great asset to have when you're on the special teams is speed. So that's definitely great. Payo time, what's good? How you doing, man? How you doing on this Sunday? So Payo Time is an LA Rams fan. He also makes YouTube videos, excellent content creator. I enjoy his work. And like I said in the beginning, this show, I welcome all NFL fans, and Payo Time is an LA Rams fan. So that's proof that, I'm a man of my word, and, I welcome all fans, and I enjoy Payo Time and his content. No worries, Payo Time. No worries, man. I'm glad you in the stream now. Rams house, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. I appreciate what you're doing as well. Rams house is another YouTube content creator, excellent content creator. They talk about the Rams. I can't wait till the season starts. So, Payo Time, Rams house, and Jay in the Bay, get together, do a stream, and we talk about, the Niners and Rams game. And I'm definitely looking forward to that. That's definitely on my list of things to do when the season starts. So thanks for coming through, man. It's like 49er Faithful says, I saw that Jalen Ramsey was upset that the Rams didn't get Julio. Yeah. I don't think, the Rams, they don't have that much draft capital to give up. Payo Time at Rams house, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they have a first round pick to give up. And I think that's what it would have taken for the NFC, for an NFC team to get Julio. And, the Falcons, it seemed like they wanted to only trade him to an AFC team. And, that's too bad that Ramsey was upset. But, they already got a lot of weapons with the Rams. They got Kupp, they got Woods, they got D-Jack. He can still take the top off the defense. That's if D-Jack is healthy. That's one of his issues. But Rams still got a pretty good offense. Let's see. Payo Time says, Payo Time says, you all know the Rams have the best D in the NFC West. Donald Ramsey leading the way. Yeah, there's no doubt that you could argue that the Rams have the best defensive lineman and the best corner in the NFC West. You could argue that. I mean, because we got Nick Bosa. He's a great edge rusher. Obviously, they play different positions, Bosa and Donald. But Now, when I look at the Rams depth chart on the defense, not a lot of names I know. I haven't heard of the names, so it's a lot of unproven talent, I would say, or at least not a lot of household names in that Rams depth chart. Once you get past, Donald, Leonard Floyd, and Ramsey, those are like the three biggest stars. But I feel like the Niners have a better collaborative effort on defense. If you look at the secondary, the linebacker, the D line, like I feel like there's a Pro Bowler on every level of our defense, and I don't think the Rams can say that. I don't know who their linebacker, Pro Bowl linebacker is, and I think the Rams are, they're a little top heavy, but we'll see, we'll see. Prove Jay and the Bay wrong. Prove me wrong. Enjoy my world. Atlanta Falcons fans, what's good? The Julio saga is finally over for them good old ATL Falcons fans. Oh man. Yeah. I mean, Julio, he's probably the best wide receiver in Atlanta Falcons history, I would say. It sucks. I know it sucks for the Falcons fans that he's gone, but they have a new GM, new head coach. And, it seems like they want to change the culture a little bit, also get underneath the salary cap more. So, Julio had to go. But at least y'all got Kyle Pitts. Y'all got a young up and coming tight end, Kyle Pitts, who's supposed to be, very good. So, we'll see what the Falcons do this year. Queen B stopping through. What's good? Good evening. How you doing on this Sunday? And thanks for tuning in to Jay in the Bay. Let's see. 49er Faithful says, fully healthy, I would say we have the best defense in the NFC West, with the Rams rivaling us. Yeah, I think so. I was looking at the stats before the show. The Rams were like top 10 in a lot of categories that I like to look at when I evaluate how good a defense is, like, points allowed, total yards allowed, rushing yards allowed, passing yards allowed. Those are four major stats. And the Rams, they were definitely top 10 in all those categories. I believe the Rams last year gave up the least amount of points. I think it was like 18 or 19 points a game. So there's no doubt the Rams are tough. They definitely have an excellent defense that they're returning this year. I feel like though the Niners have a more depth along the defense. We also have the best middle linebacker in the NFL. One of the best pass rushers in the NFL. And then our secondary, I think our secondary is definitely the best in the NFC West. With Tart, with Ward, with Verrett coming off a Pro Bowl season, K'Wan Williams, Emmanuel Mosley. So I think we can definitely, I think we'll definitely match up well with the NFC West offensive teams. Thanks for coming back through, Queen B. Yeah, I appreciate everyone hitting that like button. And if you're enjoying the stream, make sure you hit that like button, that thumbs up button. I appreciate it. And shout out to everyone watching on that good old Spotlight Sports Network. And Queen B says, I hope everyone is having a great day. Same here. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that 49er faithful where Kyle Shanahan, he had, I think he was being interviewed. And I don't know if everyone knows, but if you have IG or Twitter, you probably already know, but the 49ers were in Vegas this weekend, and there is obviously a video of the players there. I think they were at like a beach club at a Las Vegas hotel. They were out having a good time. And I believe Kyle Shanahan was like the grand marshaller at a NASCAR event. So basically he said, over a microphone, he basically just said, racer, start your engines or whatever like that. And he was interviewed, and he even mentioned, he's glad Julio went to the AFC, and obviously he wishes they could have got Julio, but the Falcons, they wanted to trade Julio to a team in the AFC and get the most compensation they can get. So that's what they did. But I think honestly every fan base in the NFC West is happy that Julio's not in the NFC West. I definitely think that's true. Paul Hernandez, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. He says, you think Shanahan will use Lance and Garoppolo as a 2 quarterback attacking offense? That'd be very interesting. kind of like how the Saints have used Drew Brees and Taysom Hill. I could see Shanahan doing that. I would actually like to see that. I want to see Trey Lance come in, maybe 5 to 7 snaps a game. It gives a different look to the offense. The defense would now have to be they would have to be aware that Lance could take off and run with the ball. And when Jimmy G's in the game, you don't really have to worry about that. So Lance would definitely bring in a different element to the offense. And I think the defense would have to, watch out for, the read option with Lance keeping the ball and running. And I think that would definitely be a good addition. And it would shake up the offense, and the defense would be on their heels because they wouldn't know what to expect. So I think it'd be nice if they did that. I don't know if Shanahan will do it, but it would be interesting. It's Golden Grid says Titans offense is going to be scary next season with Henry, AJ Brown, Julio, and Derrick Henry. I agree. Derrick Henry is obviously a beast. Probably the best running back in the NFL. And then you have, two great wide receivers, and Ryan Tannehill's no slouch as well. So the Titans' offenses will be pretty good, but what about that defense? You can have the best offense in the world, but you got to be able to stop people. And Titans' defense was putrid last year. So, well, we'll see. I think the Titans they'll probably, let's see, the AFC South, you got the Titans, the Colts, the Jags, and the Texans. So I still think the Titans will probably win that division. It'll probably be between the Titans and the Colts. But yeah, I still think I think the Titans would have still won the division without Julio. But yeah, they're obviously going to be better now for sure. I'm sure you felt this way, and a lot of them good old ATL Falcons fans felt the same way. I'm sure you guys were all tired of hearing it because I watched Big Low Country, and shout out to Big Low Country Sports, great YouTuber, talks about them good old ATL Falcons. He was saying that this has been an issue with Julio and the team for the last 2 years, and it was just time to move on. And so yeah, at least the saga is finally over, and like Enjoy My World says, the rebuilding mode is in effect for them good old Falcons. So Payo Time says, I am most interested in seeing how Bosa looks playing full speed after recovering from the injury, as well as like half the Niners team. That's cap. Yeah, man, we had obviously a ton of injuries, last year. And if I had my druthers Payo Time, I would want Nick Bosa to ease back in. So, first game of the season when when we play the Detroit Lions in Motown, I want Bosa to not play 100% of the snaps. Maybe he'll play, 30% of the snaps. I just want to ease him in. He had a torn ACL. There's no need to rush him back. We have plenty of depth along that defensive line. Arden Key, Samson E. Bucum, and of course Eric Armstead, Maurice Hurst, Kevin Givens. I mean, the names go on. Jordan Willis. So we have a lot of players at the edge rush position. I just don't want to rush Bosa back. And yeah, I'm very interested as well to see Bosa and a lot of our players at full speed. I was telling someone earlier today that this is the first time I've been excited for preseason because the Niners have a lot of new talent, through the draft, through free agency, and I'm eager to see, what comes about this talent. Lennon Wolf, the AZ sports fan. Welcome to Jay in the Bay. Obviously, Lennon Wolf is a Cardinals fan, but he's a cool dude. He's also a content creator, and he's a cool fan who enjoys his Phoenix sports teams, or I should say his Arizona sports teams. So thanks for coming through to the stream, man. Welcome aboard. So I think this is the first time you come on. So yeah, welcome aboard. Let's see. 49er Faithful says, if Kyle plays both of them, I would have Jimmy and Trey play 2 quarters a game. Then after the bye week, whoever is playing better should be QB1. That is interesting. I mean, I definitely, I definitely want to see Trey Lance, just like every Niner fan. I definitely want to see Trey Lance and see what other dimensions he brings to the offense, see how the offense run with Trey. But I want him to earn his playing time. I just don't want it to be given to him. If let's say if Jimmy G wasn't here and our starting quarterback was like Brian Hoyer, then I would be like, okay, we might as well either start Trey or let Brian Hoyer start like the first 4 games and see how it goes. And then, if the team isn't doing well, then put in Trey Lance. I don't just want to put Trey Lance in just because he's, the first round draft pick. And obviously we know he's a quarterback of the future. I just want him to, earn it. And the reason why I want him to earn it is because, Jimmy G has played at the highest level. He was integral in getting us to the Super Bowl. And, Jimmy G's career is riding on this as well. If he balls out this year, Jimmy G, that is, he'll definitely, be traded to the next team. And he has a chance to be a starter, for a few more years of his career. If Jimmy G gets hurt or doesn't play well, I'd be surprised if Jimmy G is given a shot to be, or I should say, I would be surprised if he signed as a starter by a team. I would be surprised if he is signed as a starter. Now, if he balls out, I expect him to, play, obviously lead us to the playoffs, and in the offseason, then we trade him. But a lot is riding on this year for Jimmy G. And let's face it, faithful Niner Empire, Kyle Shanahan has only had 1 winning season with the team. And I'm not saying he would be on the hot seat next year because him and Lynch just signed contract extensions, but a lot is riding on this season for both Jimmy G and Kyle Shanahan, and I can't wait to see it play out. What's good, Lennon? How you doing? Payo Time says LOL. Let's see. He says, agree. Got to let Bosa heal well and get back at the right time. Exactly. So if he's not ready by September, that's fine. Allow him to heal. It's a long season. It's a 17. Excuse me. It's a 17-game season this year. So obviously every game is important because there's only 17, but there's no need to rush Bosa back and he injures something else or because he's overcompensating for his knee that hasn't healed up. I would rather just take it easy with Bosa. If he's not ready, he's not ready. And then we'll roll with who we have. But yeah. Let's see. Lennon Wolf, no problem, man. 49ers Ultimate Report. What's good? No worries, man. Yeah, I saw you had on John Chapman on your live. So yeah, no worries, man. Thanks for coming through. He said, sorry I'm late, but my live stream went long. And thank you for congratulating me on that 750 plus. And congratulations you on getting back up to 700 subscribers. So thanks for tuning in. 49ers Ultimate Report. Looks like Payo Time says, I wonder if the Titans will trade Josh Reynolds now. They got Julio. Feel bad for Reynolds. It was his opportunity to be a true number 2 receiver. Yeah, Reynolds was a solid player even when he was with the Rams. I believe he was like the 3rd wide receiver with the Rams when he was there. But this is the NFL. You always have to fight for your spot. And maybe he could be, maybe this could be a blessing in disguise. Maybe he could be a good 3rd wide receiver because you figure a lot of the defense's attention will be to A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, and Derrick Henry. So, maybe Reynolds will tee off on that. Maybe he'll get a lot of one-on-one matchups, and Tannehill will just have to look for him. Cinco Mo, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. He says, Jay and the Bay, what's good? If Jimmy G plays well for you guys and you trade him like expected, where do you think he goes? Wow, that's a great question. Haven't even thought of that. Let's see teams that need quarterbacks. Let's think of the NFC. So NFC West, no, wouldn't happen. NFC North, let's see. Maybe Minnesota. I don't know. They move off Kirk Cousins. That's a possibility. I don't think they trade him to the Bears because they got Deshaun. They got the quarterback from Ohio State. Let's see, NFC South, New Orleans. New Orleans could be an option because Taysom Hill. I mean, I don't. He looks okay, but I don't think he can lead your team for 17 games. Jameis Winston, he still has that 30-30 season on his stats. So, prove me wrong, Jameis. So New Orleans could be an option. That's the NFC South team. Let's see, NFC East. Probably not. I don't see any team. Maybe Washington. Maybe the Washington football team. They have Heineke, who's a young quarterback. They got Fitzmagic. So Washington could be an option. New Orleans Saints could be an option. Those are teams I think of in the NFC who could use another quarterback at the end of this year, basically because their quarterbacks right now aren't stable and they aren't established. And then in the AFC, yeah, I'm not sure. I would have to get back to you on the AFC, but on the NFC, I could see maybe New Orleans or let's see. I said the Saints, or who was the other team in the NFC? I'm drawing a blank, but yeah, I'm drawing a blank. But I think, but basically to answer your question, there would definitely be teams that would need a quarterback. There's always a team that needs a quarterback, and if Jimmy G balls out and he plays, he plays pretty well. Like if he has a season where he had 27 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, like 2013, there would definitely be a market for Jimmy G. There's no doubt about that. Thanks for your question. Niners fans for life. What's good? How you doing on this Sunday? Let's see. Niners fans for life says best defense: Rams 1, Niners 2, Cardinals 3, Seahawks 4. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think the back two, the Cardinals and Seahawks, I would agree with you with that. Rams and Niners, it's almost like a toss up. The Rams, of course, have Donald and Ramsey, of course, and they have Leonard Floyd. But yeah, they have Donald, Leonard Floyd, and Ramsey. But after that, who do they have? So I guess those are the three best defensive players on the Rams. And then on the Niners, I would say Bosa, Warner, and probably Verrett. Those are probably the three best players on the Niners. But I feel like we have more depth. We have more depth on our defense than the Rams do. And we'll see how this plays out. 49er Faithful says, would Trey Sermon be RB1 since Wilson and Mostert are injured? Well, these injuries are early on in the season, and hopefully these injuries don't linger. That's all we can really hope for, because we know Wilson and Mostert got hurt last year. But yeah, if Mostert got hurt and he wasn't able to play the first game of the season, I think it would be a competition between Trey Sermon and Wayne Gallman, because Wayne Gallman was pretty good with the New York Giants last year, and now he'll be on a team with better coaching, better players all around. So I think Wayne Gallman would play pretty well behind this offensive line. But yeah, I think that would be a competition between Trey Sermon and Wayne Gallman. And I haven't seen Trey Sermon take any snaps in the NFL, so I don't know. Obviously, he had a hell of a career at Ohio State, Oklahoma, but yeah, I don't know how Trey Sermon will be in the NFL. But that's why I'm more excited for the preseason. I can't wait to see our young talent on the big stage playing. Thank you for reminding me. Harden 54. What's good? Yeah, so I was saying Washington could need a quarterback next year, and New Orleans. Thank you for reminding me. 49ers Ultimate Report says, Jay, are you disappointed that Julio Jones is not a 49er? Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. I would say I'm more happy that he's not on a different NFC West team, because that would have been, even tougher for us to try to win the division this year. And I'm beginning to realize that the 49ers seem content with the wide receiver room that we currently have now. I don't know how you feel about that, 49ers Ultimate Report. But yeah, it just seems like the 49ers are content with the wide receivers we currently have. And I guess I just accept it. This is just what it is. I'll be shocked if we get a significant upgrade at the wide receiver position. If we sign, a journeyman or, a practice squad player, okay, but I'd be surprised if we get a big name at the wide receiver position at this point of the season. But we basically need a wide receiver to have, similar numbers to Kendrick Bourne, what he did with us last year. And I guess if we can get, contribution from Juwan Jennings, Richie James, and Jalen Hurd, if we can get contributions from all three of them, I think that would be more than enough to replace Bourne's production. And of course, we can't forget about Trent Sherfield, Austin Watkins, undrafted free agent. We can't forget about Travis Benjamin, Mohamed Sanu. We'll see what those two guys have left. But thank you for the question. Let's see. 49 Fable says, how many touchdowns for Debo this year? I'll say 6 minimum. If he plays every game, I would say at least 10. I say at least 10 for Debo. Yeah, if he's healthy every game, I would say at least 10. I think he'll be a very productive receiver. I mean, he's going to have to be. I mean, Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, those will be the 3 main targets. And, hopefully one of those 3 I mentioned after the big 3, Jennings, Hurd, and James, hopefully one of those 3 can establish themselves as the best, number 3 wide receiver. Also want to talk about the 49ers latest news. For those that don't know, the 49ers invited, tight end Delaney Walker, former 49er, to work out. We didn't end up signing him, but we actually signed his former teammate, tight end Michael Pruitt. And Pruitt, he's not a receiving tight end. If you look at his numbers, you won't be impressed. But, he is an excellent blocking tight end, and that's definitely something that could help in the running game, because that's what we know that the Niners want to do. We know Shanahan wants to run the ball, 25, 30, 35 times in a game, control the time of possession. So I think this was a solid move to sign Michael Pruitt. Now, keep in mind, the 49ers have like 85 players right now signed, and eventually, cut day is going to come, and the 49ers will have to cut down to 53 players on the active roster. And I don't understand why, since we have an extra game, we're playing 17 games, why not allow for more players on the active roster? I don't know about you guys, but that would make sense to me. Why not maybe make it 55, 56 on the active roster? I think that would make sense. But yeah, so I think that's a good move. Tight end Michael Pruitt. 49ers first take. What's good? Thanks for coming into the stream, man. I see you going live as well today, man. I'll try to hop in if I can. We'll see how long my stream goes, but keep doing what you're doing, man. And 49ers first take says, just popping in to say hi, about to go live myself. Exactly. Good vibes. Yeah, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. We'll link up soon for sure. And the 49ers also next week plan on working out Canadian wide receiver Javon Cote. He's 6'5", 230 pounds. He's played the last 2 years in Canada. He did not play last year because of COVID season. So because of COVID, and the season ended up getting canceled. But Javon Cote, he has worked out for several NFL teams. He worked out for the Texans, the Raiders, the Patriots, and the Saints. So we'll see what he brings to the table. He should be getting worked out next week, and that's Canadian wide receiver Javon Cote. He has excellent size. Maybe we could even use him at tight end. Who knows? Also, something interesting that came out this week was the 49ers players getting new jersey numbers. It's just going to be weird to see, Jaquaski Tart, Jason Verrett, and I think it was K'Wan Williams. I think they're all going to have single-digit numbers in the secondary, so that is kind of weird. That's definitely different. I don't know what you guys think about that, if you even care. I know some people don't care, but usually single-digit numbers are, quarterbacks or like a punter or a kicker or something like that. So it's definitely going to take time getting used to, but I'm sure once the game kicks off, we won't even think about that no more. But that was basically the news for the week for the 49ers. signing tight end Michael Pruitt. We plan on working out Canadian wide receiver Javon Cote next week. And then the 49ers players in the secondary getting new jersey numbers. That was pretty much the news of the week. Looks like 49ers Ultimate Report says he wanted Julio Jones, but I knew Julio was not going to the Niners. Not disappointed. Yeah. It's kind of, I guess it sounds like you were thinking maybe it's a pipe dream, like you're not holding your breath if that comes to fruition. But I just don't want to see in the regular season. We're banking a lot on Ayuk, Debo, and Kittle to stay healthy, and 2 out of those 3 guys, Debo and Kittle, they have a certain physical style that they like to play with. They always give 100%. They don't like to go out of bounds. They like to take on punishment. And, that it's great that you do that, but then sometimes that allows you to not be as available to the team. Now, last year, Kittle was a fluke. If we all can remember back, I think it was the game against the Cardinals where Kittle was going out for a pass and Jimmy kind of threw a bad ball and it exposed Kittle. And that's when Budda Baker took out Kittle's knee. So in that instance, that wasn't Kittle going 100% or anything. That was just kind of like a fluke. Unfortunately, that wasn't Kittle's fault. But Kittle has missed games in the past, and Debo has as well. So we're putting a lot of stock on those 3 staying healthy and also on getting production from Jennings, Hurd, and James. So all I can do is just hope that plan that the Niners have comes to pass, that those guys that they're banking on actually come through. So Lennon Wolf, the AZ Sports fan, says, I think the 49ers might beat the Cardinals in Levi Stadium since your defense is super healthy. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a interesting matchup with the Cardinals. You guys definitely upgraded with AJ Green coming in. He's got a new scenery. Obviously he was great with the Cincinnati Bengals. You guys also drafted a receiver in the 2nd round. So you're definitely going to add another weapon to Kyler Murray. And you guys got Chandler Jones coming back, JJ Watt, Budda Baker. So your defense is good. I think both of those games are going to be tightly contested. It's going to come down to the wire. But yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see what happens when they play. 49ers Ultimate Report says to @Lennon Wolf, you are a respectful Cardinals fan. You're always welcome. Exactly. Yeah, and that's what it is. I welcome all NFL fans as long as we, keep it about football, and I'll talk about anything personal or nothing like that. So everyone's welcome for sure, just as long as we keep it respectful. Let's see. Lennon Wolf has a prediction about the NFC West this year. So he thinks the Cardinals are going 14-3, Rams 12-5, 49ers 10-7, and then the Seahawks 9-8. That's very interesting. I mean, you are very optimistic about your team, and that's dope. But the Cardinals have yet to make the playoffs with Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury. So that could be this year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think my prediction, I think the Niners probably be 12-5. And I think the Rams and Seahawks will probably be somewhere around that. And I think the Cardinals would be, unfortunately, the team that does not go to the playoffs. Or, because I don't know. Has that ever happened before where 4 teams in a division go to the playoffs? I don't think that's ever happened before, but the NFC West is so stacked that I think it should happen, especially if another division doesn't even have like a winning record. I think it was a year ago or a few years ago where the NFC East, the division winner didn't even have a winning record. So, if that's the case, I think definitely all 4 teams in the NFC West are definitely worthy of going to the playoffs. Lennon Wolf says, thank you. No problem, man. Cinco Mo, what would you want in terms of draft capital for Jimmy G? I want the world. I want everything, man. I want everything, Cinco. If Jimmy balls out and gets us to the playoffs, let's not say Super Bowl, just gets us to the playoffs, wins 1 playoff game, I think we could definitely garner like a 2nd round pick for Jimmy, on the high end of 1st round, but also it depends on, how desperate a team is to get a quarterback. And usually that happens every year. there's always a handful of teams that are desperate to get their hands, on their next quarterback. I think realistically, though, maybe a second round pick, maybe a third round pick for Jimmy G. And I think because we traded a second round pick for Jimmy, and I think on the high end, honestly, it'll probably be a second round pick. Yeah, on the high end. 49er Faithful says, we'll see about that, AZ Sports. Yep. Yeah, we're gonna remember that prediction, Lynn and Wolf. Corey Davis, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to your boy Jay in the Bay. How you doing on this Sunday, man? You know what it is. We just talking about that good old red and gold. Y'all see the background. Let's see. 49ers Ultimate Report. Thanks for coming through, man. I appreciate you stopping by. He says, got to go. See you later. But before I go, let's get Jay in the Bay 1K. I feel you, man. Thanks for your support. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming through. And so hopefully, Lynn and Wolf, hopefully you're still here, because now I wanted to talk about the best NFC West defense. And there's no doubt last year that the Rams probably statistically had the best defense last year. The Rams did. And I think the Niners were closely behind the Rams. And I think the worst stat of the Niners was the points allowed. I think the points allowed for the Niners last year was about 24 points allowed. And the other teams in the division actually gave up less points. But in the passing yards allowed, rushing yards allowed, total yards allowed, like the Niners were in the top 10 in a lot of those categories. So I think this year, though, obviously the Rams are returning Donald, Ramsey, Floyd. They're going to have an excellent defense. I just don't know, who else is behind those three players? Who else do they have? It takes more than a few players on defense to have a great defense. And I just don't know. There's just a lot of unknown guys on that Rams defense beside the big three. I think the Seahawks probably have the worst defense of the division. I know they got Kerry Hyder. He balled out with the Niners last year. And they re-signed Carlos Dunlap. So they should have a good pass rush, but last year, their defense was terrible. They also signed former Niner Akello Witherspoon, and I'm intrigued by what he does with the Seahawks, with a new team. Cooper Gaming 12, what's good? How you doing, man? Thanks for coming through to Jay in the Bay. Looks like Corey Davis has a prediction for the division, the NFC West. So he's got the 49ers at 12-5. That's what I think too. He's got Seattle at 10-7. He's got the Cardinals at 9-8 and the Rams at 8-9. Interesting. Yeah, I think it'll be a very, very close division. Now with the Rams, they did upgrade the quarterback position with Matt Stafford. At least I think so. I think Matt Stafford is a better quarterback than Goff. I know Matt Stafford doesn't have any playoff success. I don't even think he's won a playoff game, and I think he's only been to one playoff game. But it's the Detroit Lions. I know Stafford had Megatron, but he never had a consistent running game. He never had a defense, and there's no doubt. You can't argue that Stafford has not had playoff success. He hasn't had a complete team yet, but Stafford is a prolific passer of the football, and he should thrive with the LA Rams because they got the offense and they have pieces on the defense to be very successful. So I think the Rams will probably have a better record than the Cardinals, and I think the Rams will probably be. I think the Rams, Niners. I mean, it's going to be neck and neck all year. I wouldn't be surprised if every team in the NFC West had double-digit wins. That's just me. And I think it's going to come down to December. Whoever is healthiest, whoever doesn't turn the ball over, and it's going to be hell of a division. Cooper Gaming says he likes the Cardinals at 11-6, 49ers at 10-7, Rams 11-6-1, and the Seahawks 10-7-1. Interesting. Well, there's only 17 games in the season. So the Rams and Seahawks, they can't have that record. So you would have the Rams at what, 11 or 11 5-1. Then you have the Seahawks at 10-6-1. I can see that. Okay. Overtime games, you never know, man. Cooper Gaming says, "Go Cardinals. Our squad is stacked with J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones." Yeah, now there's no doubt. You guys definitely got better with J.J. Watt. We'll see. We'll see what happens with with the head coach Kingsbury. He's yet to get the Cardinals to the playoffs. I know Kyler got hurt last year. He had that shoulder injury last year, but you guys were doing pretty good last year. So we'll see. I mean, there's going to be a team left out of the playoffs most likely, because I don't think all 4 teams can go to the playoffs from one division. At least I don't think I've seen that. So, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting division. Looks like Lennon says the Phoenix Suns are looking hot and looking super good. They're playing tomorrow against the Nuggets. Yeah, man, I was surprised. I ain't gonna lie, I was surprised the Suns beat King James and the LA Lakers, but AD got hurt. King James, he can't carry a team anymore. So shout out to your Suns. They're looking good. And yeah, that should be a good series against the Nuggets. That would probably go 6 or 7 games. And if the Suns beat the Nuggets, then they're looking pretty good. They're hopefully for you guys, Chris Paul can stay healthy. But yeah, I appreciate you coming through, AZ Cardinals fans. But yeah, I just wanted to hop on here for a little bit, talk about the Niners, talk about the most recent news so far. I touched on earlier in the show, of course, the trade. Julio Jones traded to the Tennessee Titans. That was obviously, a crazy trade for the Falcons to get rid of their best wide receiver. But clearly they wanted to move in a different direction. And the Titans, they only had to give up a second and a 4th round pick for Julio. That's crazy. But Titans definitely got better on offense. And of course, I would want to get Julio Jones, but I'm glad that he's not in the NFC West, because I definitely don't want to have to face Julio twice a year. Looks like Lennon says, "What's my favorite NBA team?" Don't really have a favorite team. I root for LeBron. I like LeBron. I like what he does on and off the court. Like, he's a guy I look up to, I respect. So I like LeBron James. But I don't really necessarily have a favorite team. I just root for LeBron. I just have like a favorite player as opposed to a favorite team. But yeah, I like LeBron. So yeah, I was definitely disappointed when when they couldn't. But I wasn't surprised. Once AD went down, it's like, LeBron, he's too old to carry a team. He can't do it like that. He's not 28 anymore. So, Fortnite Faithful says, "Yeah, I'm sad my Lakers lost, but I'm cool with it because we weren't going much farther anyways, and the team was so stressful to watch all year." Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. It was with AD, obviously he's a hell of a player, but he just can't stay healthy. And LeBron is what? Ain't like 37 or something? Like, yeah, he's only got so many years left. Lennon said, "Yep, I am from the Bay. But yeah, I don't honestly. I'll watch basketball. Usually, I watch basketball if it's the playoffs. But I'm just more into football. My blood gets boiling when I watch football. I used to like basketball a lot more when I was younger. I like to play basketball, but as far as football is like my passion. If I could watch any sport, it would be football. If I had to choose. So yeah, my blood gets boiling with football, and obviously I rep that red and gold, the faithful. Just like 49er Faithful said, yeah, he'll be 37, LeBron James in December. Yeah. I mean, he's had a hell of a career, Hall of Fame player, Mount Rushmore player, LeBron James, but he can only do so much. He can only do so much. I also mentioned earlier in the show that now that Julio Jones is no longer an option, which free agent should the 49ers sign? And I think we definitely could look at Zach Ertz, the tight end. I think we should definitely look at Zach Ertz. We could definitely look at, possibly adding Justin Houston, an edge rusher. Those are two names I would want the 49ers to at least look into. because I don't think we're going to get a significant upgrade at the wide receiver position anymore. Now that Julio's off the market, I'm just not going to hold my breath anymore on it. And I trust the front office. The front office believes that, a combination of Hurd, Jennings, Richie James, Sanu, Sherfield, and Watkins and Benjamin should get the job done, then okay. I will trust the management, and if that's what Lynch says, and that's what we're gonna go with. Because at this point, there is no free agent available. I think that would significantly upgrade the roster in the wide receiver room. There's some trades available, like for instance, maybe Jamison Crowder. Jamison Crowder is an interesting name. He's a New York Jets wide receiver. He's currently missing the OTAs for the Jets, and I believe the Jets want Jamison Crowder to take a pay cut, and Jamison Crowder does not want to. He actually wants to, sign a long-term extension. So the Jets could cut Jamison Crowder, and that could be an option for the Niners. So that could be a name to look out as well. Let's see. Looks like Lennon Wolf says he agrees. 49 Faithful says Zach Ertz or trade for OBJ, if that's even possible. Yeah, that's a great name, OBJ, because he has a great team-friendly contract. He's got 3 years left on his deal. Only one of the years is guaranteed. He is coming off of a torn ACL, so that definitely could be an issue with his rehab. But I mean, if you guarantee me that OBJ would be healthy for like 12 or 13 games, like let's say if we traded for OBJ, he missed like the first month of the season because he's still rehabbing, whatever, and then he'll be good from October to the end of the season, then I'll be willing to take that. I don't know about you guys, but I'd be willing to take a healthy OBJ for 12 games because he could definitely, elevate the wide receiver room. That's for sure. G-Rod, let's see. G-Rod. All right, hold on 1 second. G-Rod, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, brother. He says, yo, Jay, what's up, brother? D'Amico going to bring it. He's going to be fine. Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt. D'Amico Ryan, he played football at the highest level in college at the University of Alabama. He played at the highest level with the Houston Texans. He was a unanimous All-American at Alabama in college. He also won the Defensive Rookie of the Year when he was with the Houston Texans. So he's definitely played the position of linebacker at the highest level. And, he's been with the 49ers organization for the past 4 years. He's been training, mentoring Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, and those are two of our, better defensive players. So he definitely knows the system. He knows the players. D'Amico has the respect of the players, but he is a brand new defensive coordinator. He's never called defensive plays. What I want to see from D'Amico is what I want to see from D'Amico is in game. How does he coach in game? How does he make adjustments in game? We won't really know until the time arises. I guess we'll see a little bit in preseason, but I mean, teams probably don't want to show everything they can do in preseason because that's not the real games. But how does he coach in game? How will he call? Will he call zone? Will he call more man? Will he be blitzing more? What will he call on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 1? So all that will be interesting, and I can't wait to see how that plays out. But yeah, I'm definitely behind D'Amico Ryans. I think it was definitely a great. He was definitely deserving of the position. There's a nice in hire, and it continues continuity with the 49ers. So I think it's definitely good. And it also helps that D'Amico is going to be coaching a team with the best middle linebacker in the NFL, one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. He's also got a veteran secondary, so D'Amico, he's in good hands. I think he's in great hands, and I can't wait for the season to start to see, how he calls plays, and how does he adjust in game, and how does he game plan for the opposing team's offense. Like that's what I'm curious to see. Lennon Wolf says, hoping that the Cardinals and Suns win the championship because that's my favorite teams. Yeah, the Cardinals. I don't think the Cardinals have yet to win a Super Bowl. I think they went with Kurt Warner, but they lost to the Steelers. And then the Suns, I'm trying to remember, how the Suns been in the finals? Probably, but I don't know if they won it. So, yeah, that would be amazing for the state of Arizona, for the Cardinals and Suns to win the championship. That'd be great, because this is probably the best Suns team that Phoenix has had probably since what? Steve Nash, Mari Stoudemire, that gang. So, yeah, I mean, good luck to you guys the next few weeks. The Sports Star has a great question. Who has the scariest offense in the NFL now? I would say it's probably still in the AFC. Let's say if we separate it by conference. In the AFC, I still think you have the Chiefs. And then in the NFC, I still think you would say Tampa Bay, because Tampa Bay has, TB12. They have all the other weapons. So they have plenty of weapons. And yeah, I think in the AFC it'll probably still be KC, and then the NFC it'll probably still be Tampa Bay. So the Titans, they'll definitely be in the top 5 for sure. I'm trying to think of any other great offenses in the NFC and the AFC. Those two first come to mind. But yeah, let me know, Sports Star, who do you think has the best offense in the NFL? Let me know in them comments. CG Ruthless, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. How you doing, CG? How you doing on a Sunday? Let's see. 49er Faithful says, hopefully our defense is way more vicious, because D'Amico did say he's going to have them play very fast. Yeah, so I wonder if D'Amico will be blitzing more, because I know under Robert Saleh, we didn't really blitz that much. And I know we played a lot of cover 3 zone, mostly because, Richard Sherman, he was limited in man coverage, and we kind of had to play zone. So, yeah, it would be interesting to see how D'Amico, because I know a new coordinator wants to come in and put his stamp on the defense. He wants to have his own style. And I'm also very excited to see the young corners we got in the draft with Ambry Thomas and Demo Lenore. I'm excited to see those guys get some run in the preseason, because those two corners, they could possibly be the starters next year, because Verrett's on a 1-year deal, K'Wan Williams is on a 1-year deal. There's no guarantee that those two will be back next year. So I'm glad Lynch got 2 corners in the draft, because we definitely needed an influx of young talent in that secondary. Matt Navarro, what's good? How you doing, man? Thanks for coming through to Jay in the Bay. Hope you're enjoying the show. And shout out to everyone watching Jay in the Bay on the Spotlight Sports Network. Hopefully you're enjoying. Hopefully you leave a thumbs up for the video. Also, everyone watching on Jay in the Bay YouTube, leave a thumbs up on the video if you're enjoying the content. And make sure you subscribe as well. Lennon Wolf says, Mike, the AZ sports fan, says, when I went to his live stream, if the Cardinals and Suns win his championship, he's going to get a replica trophy. That'd be nice, man. That'd be real nice. Because that'd be crazy if 2 teams. I think Boston has done that before, where like the Patriots won a Super Bowl, like the Celtics won a championship, and the Boston Bruins won a hockey championship. Like that's been done before. But yeah, that'd be interesting to see for the state of AZ. Looks like the Sports Star says for the teams with the best offenses. Yeah, the Bills slipped my mind. He says the Chiefs, the Bills, the Titans. Like who else has a great offense? I mean, Cleveland, maybe they're not great, but they're pretty good with the 2 running backs, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, the tight ends they have. We got Jarvis Landry on the outside and OBJ. Baker's still solid. So Cleveland has a pretty good offense as well. It may not be considered great, but it's pretty good, especially when they're able to run the ball. Let's see. Sports Star says, I'm so hyped for Jones. I made a hype video. Yeah, I saw it. I think that was your channel. I saw where it was basically like a tribute to Julio Jones. Yeah, that was pretty dope. I saw it. I think that was your channel that was on. Sports Star says the Browns just need to run. Well, the Browns have Nick Chubb, and they also have Kareem Hunt. So they're good in the running back department. They're pretty good. But yeah. Oh, he says, Sports Star says he means QB. You're not a fan of Baker Mayfield, Sports Star? I mean, Baker's not great, but it seems like Stefanski and that offense, they know their limitations and they know their strengths. And one of their strengths is the offensive line and the running game. So they're going to want to do that, 25 to 30 times a game, control the time of possession. And, and also they got a great defense. So I think Cleveland knows what they're doing. I think Cleveland and the 49ers are kind of similar. Both got excellent defenses. Both want to run the ball, control the time of possession. And Baker, he's no slouch. He's not top 10, I don't think. But he's solid. As long as you don't turn over the ball, I think he'll be, pretty good. Yeah, exactly. The Sports Star says, yeah. Sports Star says Baker, he's good, not great. I agree. Tommy Huxley in the building. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. He says, what's good? Go Niners, Lambs, Seahawks, trash Cardinals. Tommy popping off fireworks. First thing coming through. Oh, man. But yeah, Tommy, we were just talking about, the best NFC West defense. Also, and I guess I could talk about this now, the best NFC West offense as well. That would be interesting. I just thought that right now. Who has the best offense in the NFC West? I mean, I think the best coach has got to be between, I would say Shanahan, but you could say Shanahan and McVay for the Rams. And obviously we don't have the best quarterback yet. Maybe when Trey Lance in a few years, he could become the best NFC West quarterback. But probably the best quarterback, I would say, is, it's Russell Wilson. The best wide receiving core out of the NFC West. I mean, the best wide receiver out the NFC West, I think, is D-Hop. I think it's DeAndre Hopkins. I think he's the best wide receiver. Best tight end is Kittle. But best overall, I mean, every team is pretty good in the wide receivers. Seattle got DK, Lockett. The Rams got Woods and Kupp. I'll probably rather have Seattle's wide receivers. I think Seattle might have the better wide receivers because Arizona, they got D-Hop. They got AJ Green, but what do we really expect from AJ Green? I guess we'll see. What else does he have left? And Tommy says he gets the Lambs and Niners the best defense. Yeah, I would say Rams and Niners have the best defense. I think the Seahawks probably have the worst defense, even though the Seahawks, they do have talent. Of course, they got Bobby Wagner. They got Jamal Adams. They got Hyder. They got Dunlap. They got Akello Witherspoon. The Seahawks, they do have talent. There's no doubt about that. But compared to the other teams, like the Niners and the Rams, I think the Niners and Rams probably have the best defense. So, yeah, Tommy, Niners Ultimate Report was on earlier. He had John Chapman. Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. No, it was a pretty good live stream. The Sports Star says, who has the most improved team in the NFL? Let's see. If I had to take a guess this year, I mean, my dark horse last year for like a sleeper team was the Denver Broncos. They had the running game, they had the receivers, and they had the defense, but they didn't have the quarterback. I thought, what's his face, Drew Lock would take a step toward being a better quarterback this past season, but that didn't come to fruition. So I was thinking the Denver Broncos last year. This year, I know the Colts were good last year, but I'm intrigued to see how Wentz will play with his former offensive coordinator when he was with the Eagles. I'm intrigued by how he'll play with the Indianapolis Colts, Carson Wentz. Let me know who you think, the Sports Star, who you think is who will be the most improved team in the NFL. Just like Tommy says, I'm calling Miami to be one of the best, number one defense in my opinion. Yeah, Miami's defense was pretty good last year. They were excellent. excellent last year, especially when the defense forces turnovers. They're pretty good. That definitely flips the field position. It gives offense, more opportunities to score on the offensive side of the ball. So yeah, the Miami was excellent last year. Cleveland's defense will be good as well. I definitely think Cleveland's defense will be good. Niners sickness, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to your boy Jay in the Bay. If you guys don't know about Niners sickness, check him out. Excellent YouTube content creator. Of course, he talks about the red and gold. And Niners sickness, we were just talking about, who has the best NFC West defense. We also talked about earlier today about Julio Jones going to the Titans. I'm doing good. Niner sickness. What's good with you, man? How you doing on a Sunday? We were talking about Julio Jones, and I'm disappointed the Niners didn't get him, but I'm also glad that Julio didn't go to the NFC West, to any other team in the NFC West. So at least the Niners don't have to worry about facing him, 2 games a year. So, but thanks for tuning in, Niner sickness. Just like the Sports Star says, Bears most improved. That could be. We'll see what Justin Fields does. I mean, Andy Dalton, Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields should probably get more starts this year. Like maybe Andy Dalton starts like the first 4 games, and then if the Bears are losing, then you put Justin Fields in. But yeah, that would be interesting to see because we play the good old Chi-Town Bears this year. I believe it is. What week is that? Let me look up real quick. When do the 49ers play the Bears? I believe it's after our bye week, I think. Let's see. Cinco Mo also says, what's a game you're looking forward to, not in your division, that the 49ers play? I will definitely get that up. Yeah. So we played them good old Chi-Town Bears in Chicago, October 31st, Halloween. So we'll probably see Justin Fields. Now, that's a great question, Cinco Mo. He says, what's the game you're looking forward to, not in your division, that the 49ers will play? I'm looking forward to the Niners playing them good old Indianapolis Colts in Santa Clara, prime time, Sunday Night Football. I can't wait for that. Not only will DeForest Buckner return to, Santa Clara, where obviously the 49ers, where he was drafted. Also, this game will be played following a bye week for the Niners. And the 49ers will have 2 weeks to prepare for the Colts. The 49ers players will be well rested, refreshed, and we're playing on prime time. Everybody is watching, so that's definitely a game I'm looking forward to. And Carson Wentz and the Eagles beat us last year in Santa Clara, so I'm definitely looking forward to the Niners playing the Colts, and we should get a W in that game. Let's see another game. I think obviously it's the Packers going up against the Niners. Another prime time game, Sunday Night Football, and obviously a lot that game could be interesting because with Rodgers, we don't know if Rodgers will be there, and we'll see about that. But also that's the home opener for the Red and Gold faithful. That'll be the home opener, week 3 against the Packers. So that's another intriguing game. Let's see another game. I think those are probably the 2. Oh, and of course now Cinco. Of course now the Niners play the Titans in Tennessee. So we're going to be going up against Julio. So that's going to be an even more intriguing game. And that Titans game, that's going to be December 23rd, 2 days away from Christmas. And that's going to be a short week. That's unfortunately a Thursday night game. And Thursday night games, I think they should just do away with them. It's not enough time for the players' bodies to recover. Usually those Thursday night games, once you get longer in the season, they're usually not good. Usually there's a blowout. But yeah, that 49ers at Titans, December 23rd, Thursday night game. That's going to be an interesting game. And it's going to be a short week for the Niners. That would be a tough game for the Niners for sure. And what games are you looking forward to, Cinco Mo? Let a brother know. You know it in them comments. Let's see. Niner Sickness says, I would love to be a guest on your show. Hey, that would be dope. That would definitely be dope. I'd love to have you on, Niner Sickness. We'll definitely have to talk about that. And we'll definitely be in touch. Let's see. Tommy says, darn Cardinals Nation isn't here. Good to have some women in here. That's funny. They were here earlier, Tommy. So the Cardinals fans, they were here earlier in the stream, but it wasn't the Cardinals Nation. It was two different Cardinals fans. So, but the Cardinals Nation was not here. I don't know where he's at tonight, but I wish him well. Let's see. Layden Wolf says, Garoppolo, Jimmy G, that's my quarterback. He says that Jimmy G might be the starting quarterback. Oh, yeah, that's what we expect. You know, Jimmy G has looked excellent in OTAs. You know, Jimmy G was looking to the right and he was looking to the left. Jimmy G has definitely looked good so far. This is still Jimmy's team. Obviously, the writing is on the wall for Jimmy. Most likely this is his last year. But I think at this point, Jimmy G is the best man for the job, unless Trey just outplays him, you know, and I haven't seen that yet in OTAs. But we'll see what happens in the preseason. You know, I'll be surprised if Jimmy G gets a ton of snaps in preseason. He probably won't. You know, he might get 2 to 4 series at most. But we'll see more of Trey Lance. But since we have Jimmy G, who's played at a high level, you know, this isn't like a Brian Hoyer. If this was Brian Hoyer, then yeah, I think Trey would probably start. I think Trey would start. But since we have an established, you know, starter with Jimmy G, I think, you know, it makes sense to have him start. Niners Sickness says 49ers versus Titans will be a good game to watch out of the division. Yeah, it will be. You know, it's a NFC versus AFC, you know, outer conference game. So that's rare there. And it's a Thursday night game, 2 days before Christmas. So that's interesting. But it is a short week for the Niners, and we have to travel all the way to Tennessee. So that, you know, that was one of the games that I thought we would probably lose. That Sunday before the Titans game, we play the Falcons at home. So obviously that'll be a win, you know, of course. But you know, then we have a short time to prepare for the Titans. It's a short week, 2 days before Christmas. We got to fly to Tennessee, Thursday night game. Like, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we lost that game. So Lyndon Wolf says, who's your favorite 49ers players? It's the Ayuk show. Brandon Ayuk. Great wide receiver. I'm so glad that Lynch selected Brandon Ayuk. You know, Lynch has done an excellent job selecting wide receivers so far. I mentioned earlier in the show, you know, when was the last time the Niners drafted a good wide receiver in this draft prior to Lynch? You know, and I'm trying to remember. I think it's probably Michael Crabtree, and that was like what, 2005, 2006, last time the Niners drafted a good wide receiver. So it's been a long time coming. He's had 2 back-to-back drafts where he drafted excellent wide receivers with Deebo Samuel and then Brandon Ayuk. So, yeah, Brandon Ayuk is most likely my favorite 49ers player on offense. On defense, probably be Fred Warner. Yeah, be Fred. That's right. Let's see. Niners Sickness says, who's your best cornerback trio in the West? It's no doubt it's the red and gold Niners Sickness. I think there's no doubt about that. You know, with K'Wan Williams, Verrett, Mosley, I think we have the best trio defensively, you know, in the NFC West. That's for sure. I think so. Who do you think, Niners Sickness? Let me know in them comments. Rams House says, do you think that Trey Sermon will be number 1 running back at some point? I would say if Mostert gets hurt during the season, then yeah, it could be. Or, you know, we got Wayne Gallman. Wayne Gallman was playing pretty well with the good old New York Giants last year when Saquon Barkley got hurt with that torn ACL. So, you know, it could be Wayne Gallman. But the funny thing is, with Shanahan, we don't have any bell cow running backs. We don't use running backs like the Tennessee Titans with Derrick Henry, where Henry gets 30 to 35 carries a game. Shanahan doesn't like to use running backs like that. He likes to have, 3 to 4 running backs he could use at any point during a game. And, I think all of our running backs will eat, especially with Jeff Wilson Jr. out until November. I wouldn't be surprised if we have 4 to 5, or maybe, at least 4 running backs up on game day, including Juice Tech. And so that could be Gallman, Mostert, and Gallman, Mostert, and Trey Sermon, and then could be one more back. It could be Elijah Mitchell or Jermichael Hasty, or one of those 2 running backs could be on the practice squad. So I don't think it matters, Rams House, who will be starting, because I think all the running backs will get touches. They'll all get carries, because that's what Shanahan wants to do. He wants to run the ball. That's why we drafted the 2 big linemen in the draft, and that's why, fortunately, that was a head scratching move with our second pick to get a guard, because I thought, we probably should get a corner, but it's all, everything is worked out because we needed to have depth at that offensive line. And clearly the Lynch saw value in selecting Banks with that second round pick. So, we revitalized that offensive line, and we added some more talent to that running back room. Let's see. Tommy Huxley says, that's weird. Cards fans coming in talking mess. They beat us once in 2 years. Hey, they're excited about their team, man. They reloaded. They got AJ Green, they got JJ Watt. So they're excited about their team. I would be too. Looks like Niner Sickness has a question for Lennon Wolf. He says, what's your thoughts on the addition of AJ Green? Cinco Mo says Falcons, Bills, to see where we stack up at that point, January 2nd. Okay. Yeah, I agree, Cinco. It's definitely going to go down to the wire with the 49ers and the entire NFC West. December is going to be a key month. Corey Davis says 49ers versus Rams, both games, so I can prove everyone wrong about Matt Stafford. You don't like Matt Stafford, Corey, man? I mean, obviously Stafford, he hasn't had any playoff success. We can agree on that. But there's no doubt that Stafford he has been a prolific quarterback. He's thrown for over 5,000 yards. Obviously with Detroit, they didn't have a defense. They didn't have a running game. And with the Rams, they have, every position is pretty much better on the Rams compared to the Lions, running game, receivers, defense. So now we'll see what, this is definitely a much tougher division than Matt Stafford is used to, but maybe not, because he had to go up against Aaron Rodgers every year. And, the Bears were good. So, but this is definitely a tough division. And I'm intrigued to see what Matt Stafford and the Rams do. If you look at the Rams schedule, I think they have a pretty tough 4 or 5 games to start the season off with. Let's see. So the Rams, so here are the Rams first 4 games. So they play the Bears at home, they should beat them. Then they have to travel to Indianapolis to play the Colts. Then they have to play the Buccaneers, and then they have to play the Cardinals. Then they have to play the Seahawks. So their first 5 games, Seahawks, Cardinals, Bucks, Colts, Bears. That's a pretty decent schedule to start off the season with. I think we'll know all we need to know about Matt Stafford within those first 5 games, because that's a pretty tough stretch. Let's see. What about if Ramsey, Williams, and Rochelle? Okay, I think you're talking about the 3 best corners in the NFC West. Yeah, that's the thing. Besides Ramsey, I don't know about Williams and Rochelle. I don't know how good they are. They certainly aren't household names yet. But yeah, I definitely want to see them up close, and I'll definitely see them this year when they face off against the Niners. Looks like Lennon, in response to Niner Sickness question, he says, Lennon says AJ Green needs to not get injured. He needs to stay healthy for offense with Kyler Murray. Yeah, and that's definitely been an issue with AJ Green the last few years. He's had those foot issues when he was with the Cincinnati Bengals. So, but it'll be interesting to see because AJ Green was the number one receiver with Cincinnati for pretty much his entire career. And now he's going over to the Arizona Cardinals, and clearly D-Hop is the number one receiver. So how will that benefit AJ Green? It could benefit him greatly because he won't be lining up against the number one corner anymore. So, if AJ Green can stay healthy, he could definitely provide a spark to that Cardinals offense. G-Rod says, I'm really concerned about having another injury-riddled season with all these starters already injured. Yeah, it's definitely disheartening to see injuries happen, but, this is football. It's a physical sport. Injuries happen. I just hope that these injuries now that are happening don't linger to training camp, to preseason, and then the regular season. That's what I'm most hoping doesn't happen is these injuries continue to linger. But, I don't know if it's the 49ers training staff. I mean, last year was it was a weird year. Let's be real. COVID, affected every one of us. It was a weird year. The rookies didn't have OTAs. They didn't have mini camp. They didn't have training camp. They didn't have preseason. And then the veterans as well. Usually in football or, in any sport, you don't just usually you ramp up. So each week you continue to build on what you already did. You don't just start playing full speed. Usually, if a sprinter's running 100-meter, before they practice that 100, they stretch, they jog, they warm their body up. They don't just start running a 100-meter sprint. And that's kind of like what basically every NFL did. Every NFL team did last year. There was no chance to warm up. There was no chance to ramp up. And then also we lost 3 players, in the Jets stadium. Solomon Thomas was out for the year, ACL. Bosa was out for the year. Jimmy G was basically, out for the year with a sprained ankle. So that was disheartening as well, with 3 players getting hurt in like one game. So hopefully it'll be a different year. G-Rod. Roberto Hastings, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. He says, sup, homie, first time here. I'm a friend of Niner Sickness. All right, man. I appreciate you coming through. Hopefully you enjoying the stream. And if you like, man, go ahead and subscribe. I'll talk about, you see it, that red and gold. And yeah, Niner Sickness is dope. I enjoy his YouTube channel as well. And I appreciate you coming through, Roberto. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Cinco Mo says Falcons versus Niners without Salah. It's going to be interesting to see how you guys defense plays. Yeah. I mean, from my perspective, the Falcons, the Falcons definitely do have a good offense. Matt Ryan is still a pretty good quarterback. I don't know who your starting running back is. I know Gurley was there last year. I think Gurley is still a free agent. You got Kyle Pitts. That'll be interesting. Kyle Pitts against Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. That should be an intriguing matchup. Falcons still have Calvin Ridley. He's an excellent receiver. But the issue with the Falcons, it's been the defense, pretty much ever since that Super Bowl, the Falcons defense just has left a lot to be desired. And that'll be interesting. Well, can the Falcons defense slow down the Niners offense, So but I'm definitely looking forward to that ATL Falcons game. And let's see, Niner Sickness says he does agree with you at Linden Wolf about AJ Green. Basically, you got to stay healthy. Looks like Tommy says, "Oh, JJ Watt." Yeah, this ain't the JJ Watt of 5-7 years ago. We'll see how effective he'll be. I know he's dealt with injuries in the past, but now he's got to change his scenery with the Arizona Cardinals, and he's got a new lease on life. So we'll see how JJ Watt plays. And Lennon says JJ's not that old. Let's see. Let's look up JJ Watt. How old is JJ Watt? Let's see. JJ Watt is 32 years old. So, I mean, he's on the wrong side of 30 for a defensive lineman. I mean, I don't think the Cardinals are expecting J.J. Watt to, he's not going to get 20 sacks in the season. Those years are long gone. I think if you can get about 8 to 10 sacks from J.J. Watt at this stage of his career, I think that's a success. But we'll see. Let's see. Tommy says his production is old man stats now. Yeah, I mean, he's not the young buck he was. He's not getting 15, 20 sacks, anymore. Those days are definitely long gone. Let's see. Lennon says he does not like the LA teams. All right. Tommy says the Falcons need to admit that they're in a rebuild. Yeah, I mean, they kind of are, but they still have Matt Ryan. And, he's still got significant guaranteed money owed to him. So they can't really rebuild because, usually if you rebuild, you strip everything down. You don't have any massive contracts, especially with Matt Ryan. I mean, Matt Ryan, he's getting paid a pretty penny. Matt Ryan is, he's got a lot of guaranteed money left on his contract. Let's see what Matt Ryan's getting paid. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think you can rebuild when your quarterback is making. Let's see, Matt Ryan's making this year. Well, his cap hit. His cap hit is what is it, $23 million this year? So I don't think you can rebuild when your quarterback is making that amount of money. But yeah, and even next year, he's still owed, about $40-50 million. So Matt Ryan still owed a lot of money. So I don't think you can really rebuild with him. And unfortunately, there's not a good out in that contract where the Falcons don't owe him significant guaranteed money. He's still got a lot of guaranteed money left on his contract. Let's see, Rams house. Whose house? Rams house. He says Williams had 5 interceptions last year, and his Rochelle is expected to be a stud this year. Well, we'll see, Rams house. Y'all, you're gonna have to prove me wrong, man. I can't wait to see that. All I'm saying is with the Rams, they're just not household names. We don't know them. So they're to me, they're unproven. But yeah, that's excellent that he had 5 interceptions last year, and let's see if he can repeat that. And I have an even better idea about that Rams secondary and that Rams defense when the Rams face off against that red and gold Rams house. Let's see. Tommy says the injuries are going to happen when you aren't in football shape. They didn't even have OTAs last season. We are fine. It won't be any. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree, Tommy. That's I definitely agree with that. Hopefully, last year was a blip and not a trend. And injuries happen to every team. It's a part of the game. It's a physical sport. Injuries are bound to happen. Let's see. Niner sickness in response to Rams House says Robert Rochelle is an unproven rookie. We would have to wait to see with him. Well, he had 5 interceptions last year, so that is pretty good. And let's see what he does in his sophomore year. So let's see. Rams House says he agrees with Niner sickness. Okay. Rams House says definitely excited for your Niners this season. Pumped for the Rams season too. Yeah, I'm pumped for the Niners, and I'm pumped for the entire NFC West because every team has. I think every team you could say has a legit shot to win the NFC West. The Cardinals, they were looking good last year until Kyler got hurt. Obviously, the Rams, they were looking pretty good, and Goff got injured, and then. With Seattle, Russell Wilson, I don't know what happened. He burnt the groceries last year. They was letting him cook. But and then with the Niners, of course, you had the injuries. So, a lot of teams are out to prove, that they're to be the best team in the NFC West because the Seahawks lost in the first round at home, to the Rams. That was kind of surprising. And then the Cardinals didn't even make the playoffs. Kyler got hurt. So, a lot of optimism in that good old NFC West. And looks like Niner Sickness says number 20, Jalen Ramsey is the real deal, no doubt. Jalen Ramsey's probably the best corner in the NFL. Let's see. Niner Sickness. Niners and Rams would definitely be fighting for first in the West. Yeah, I agree. G-Rod. He says he thinks Gurley's days in the NFL are coming to an end swiftly. Well, Gurley And I know he if you look at Gurley, you look at his stats last year, he wasn't bad. Like he's not the Gurley's definitely not the back he was with the LA Rams, in his prime. He's definitely not that back anymore. But so for the Falcons, keep in mind, Gurley's only 26. It's probably an old 26 because he's got a lot of wear and tear on his body. But last year for the Falcons, he played 15 games. We're talking about Todd Gurley here. He had 195 carries, 678 yards, 9 rushing touchdowns. So that's pretty good. Now, obviously, Gurley's probably he's not a franchise running back. He's not a number one running back anymore, but he could be, a second running back, to back up the starter. And what do you guys think? Faithful. What do you guys think? Niner Empire. What about Todd Gurley coming to the Niners? What do you guys think about that? Speaking of Todd Gurley, and the reason I bring that up is because Jeff Wilson Jr. is basically going to be out until November. And, he'll have fresh legs for the next 2 months. But, Todd Gurley, would he be an upgrade to what we have in the running back room? Or do you think we should roll with the young guys? If Todd Gurley was on a veteran minimum contract, like incentive contract, maybe I would bring him in for a workout, because last year he still proved he played in 15 games. He still proved he can run the ball effectively. And he could be, maybe a goal line running back. He is hard to bring down, maybe a third and short running back to bring in. But that would be interesting about Todd Gurley. Let's see. Leonard Wolf says he is a friend of the AZ Sports Fan. Been to his live streams. Yeah, AZ Sports Fan is cool. He's cool. I've seen his show before. Monica, what's good? Thanks for coming through to the stream. How you doing on a Sunday? Niner Signet says, if we are just talking about the front four, I believe that the Cardinals do have the best front four, but Niners have the best front seven. Interesting. So the Cardinals, they have on their front four, the Cardinals have, of course, J.J. Watt, Rashard Lawrence, Zach Allen, and Chandler Jones. Their front four is solid. With the Rams, Rams have, of course, Aaron Donald. They got Leonard Floyd. They have, who else do they have? Ashawn Robinson, Sebastian Joseph Day. So their front four is pretty good as well. But yeah, like you said, Niners sickness. I think we have the best overall defense. I just think from top to bottom at every tier of our defense, there's a Pro Bowler. When you look at the D-line, you look at the linebackers, you look at the experienced secondary, I would say the Niners have the best overall defense. And especially, the defense, it starts all with the pass rush. That's what it starts off with. And I think the Niners, if we're not the best pass rush in the NFC West, I think we're up there with, with Bosa, with the young Kinlaw, with Armstead. I feel like we have a lot of depth in that area. With Samsung coming in, we'll see what he does at the edge rushing position, but hopefully he can be a double-digit sack guy this year. But that's what it all starts off with. It all starts off with the front four. Damian Lee says, I'm glad we acquired Arden Key. Arden Key, he was a third-round pick by the Raiders. He kind of underachieved. But the Raiders, you look at their draft picks, the last few years, they haven't been able to draft good defensive players. I don't know if they're not developing their defensive players or they're just not drafting the right players. I don't know what it is, but we got Arden Key. We got Maurice Hurst from the Raiders. So, Arden Key, let's see what he does. He's going to be playing on the most talented defensive line he's ever played with in the NFL. There's no doubt about that. So, we'll see how Arden Key plays. Let's see. Cinco says it's not a rebuild until you get rid of the quarterback. We redecorate. Yeah. I feel you, Cinco. Yeah. Yeah, with that quarterback, you're not going to be able to do any rebuild. You're just going to have to reload, You're funny. It's like Niner Sickness says, we can all agree the NFC West is the best. Absolutely. Monica agrees with you. NFC West is definitely the best. Tommy says Russell Wilson went from Iron Chef to world's worst cooks. Oh man, that's funny. Let's see. Gurley is not he's not girly. That's right. You're right about that, Tommy. He is not girly. Tommy also says, I'll take Frank Gore to retire with the red and gold. Yeah. You know, it's a great story. Obviously, yeah, I want to see Frank Gore back in the red and gold. Just, what can he offer to the team? And if, the Niners were interested, they would have already probably signed Frank Gore, right? So, it's no doubt Frank Gore is a Hall of Famer. He's definitely probably, I believe he probably has the most rushing yards in a Niner uniform, Frank Gore, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's the case. Because I believe Frank Gore is like a top 5 all-time rusher in the NFL. So as far as carries and yards rushing and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, I want to see Frank Gore, retire. Obviously, he'll retire a Niner, but bringing him onto the team, I'd be intrigued by how Shanahan will use him. I'll say that. I'd be intrigued by how Shanahan will use him. It's like Seiko Mo says, y'all ain't got enough running backs already. Hey, man, iron sharpens iron, Seiko Mo. You never know if another running back gets hurt, and that's highly likely. Running backs, they get a lot of punishment, and it's 17 games this year. And also, if a running back, for instance, all of our running backs on the roster now obviously won't make the roster. Some of them will be on the practice squad. But, it's important to have depth. Niner Signet says, Jay and the Bay, love your charisma and passion for the red and gold. Your content is very good, brother. Much love and respect for all you do. I appreciate your kind words, Niner Sickness. We definitely got to link up. I got to go on your show. You got to come on mine for sure. We'll definitely link up, and I appreciate you coming through, man. Let's see. Tommy says, Cinco, we thought that last year and everyone got injured. Pretty much, man. Pretty much. You never know. You never know. Looks like Monica says, I can't wait to see Bosa. Same here. Yep. I just hope, Monica, that we bring Bosa along. He doesn't need to be playing 100% of the snaps right off the back. We just need to ease him in. Lennon Will says, when it rains, it pours. Oh, man. Hopefully I won't be saying that too much, during the season. Hopefully I won't have to have my red 49er parka on. I won't have to have my umbrella. Hopefully I won't have to say when it rains, it pours. Hopefully not too many times, Lennon. No beer. Just a little bit of water. David Renteria, what's good? Thanks for coming into the stream. First time I've seen you on. Hopefully you enjoying the show. It's all good, Monica. Let's see. David says the best defense is Rams. Y'all lost Robert Saleh. What makes you think y'all defense is going to be the same? I think it has a chance to get better. I think our defense on paper this year is probably better than what we had last year. I think we have more depth at the definitely with the defensive line. I think our secondary, we got an influx of young talent at the cornerback position. I think in the cornerback position, I feel like we're better. Because our guys will be healthy, right? Our guys will be healthy at the beginning of the season. Last year, the secondary, there were injuries all throughout. I think we are a better defense without Richard Sherman. I hate to say it, but Richard Sherman is limited, in his career. No doubt he's a Hall of Famer, one of the best cornerbacks of the last 2 decades, but Sherman is limited. And I think this defense is most likely better without Sherman. And also we added more depth to the defensive line. But the defense, there's no doubt the Rams had the number 1 defense last year. I think the Niners though have a more collaborative, more depth on the defense, and I think we'll be better. But we'll see. That's why they play the games. David. We'll see. Damian Lee says, "Who is your Niner Mount Rushmore?" Damian's is Lott, Montana, Gore, and Brent Jones. If it was me, off the top of my head, it would probably be Montana, Young, Jerry Rice, and Ronnie Lott. Those would probably be, my Mount Rushmore. I think so. Yeah. G-Rod, Celso E. Bucum is going to bring the heat to his ex-team for letting him go. I know. He's going to be hotter than fish grease. Yeah, I can't wait for Samsung to go up against his former team. Samsung will be playing the edge rushing position. And with the Rams, he just played linebacker. But it seems like primarily with the Niners, Samsung will be used as an edge rusher. So I'm definitely intrigued for that. And it looks like Monica says, get ready for Bosa. Oh, yeah, he coming back with a vengeance. And that's what I was saying, Tommy. The Rams, they don't have much depth. And he says once someone goes down, the Rams hit in the basement. Yeah, I mean, they're very top heavy. That's a disadvantage of the Rams. Like Rams House did mention that there are players who just aren't household names yet. And that's what I'm basing it off of because it's unproven. That's why I say, besides Floyd, Donald, and Ramsey, we'll see what those other unproven guys do. Niner Sickness says, Jane Bay, I'm going to donate 2 49er patches to you so you can give them away to your viewers. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that kind gesture, man. Obviously, those 75th anniversary patches are sick, and I can't wait to get some 49er gear with those patches on them. And yeah, my audience would definitely love that. And I appreciate that, Niner Sickness. Monica said, man, you're so entertaining. When it rains, it pours. Yeah, I know. Oh, man. Hopefully I won't say that too often this year, Monica, but, I don't think we're going to go 17-0. So, we'll see. Fail Time says, been playing Madden while listening. You're a legend, Jay. Thanks for your content creation. Absolutely, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate you for enjoying my content. Appreciate you conversing. Hey, when you play on Madden, Fail Time, who do you like to play with? Which team? Or is it the obvious, the LA Rams? Let me know. Let's see. Tommy says if the Rams were a great defense, they would have beaten Aaron Rodgers. Interesting. That is a good point. Monica says that's dope. Niner Sickness. All right. That is very nice of Niner Sickness to do that. David says Rams had the number one. Yeah, I know. Yep, the Rams had the number one defense last year, but that's very true. That is very true. And I think they probably still have a top 5 defense, but I think the Niners, that's why they play the games, Dave. That's why they play the games. I feel the Niners will be right up there with the Rams in terms of defense. And for the reasons I mentioned earlier, best linebacker in the NFL, Fred Warner. We have a veteran group in the secondary, and we have a revamped defensive line. And the defense is nothing without a pass rush, and I think the Niners will excel in that area. It's like Tommy says, the Rams defense is overrated. We'll see. Niners Sickness says just showing some 49ers love. Let's see. Payo Time says, fun trivia. Who is the starting quarterback for the Niners in Madden 03? Wow. Well, that's 2 years before Alex Smith. Oh, it's probably Jeff Garcia. That's who I would guess. Jeff Garcia in 2003, or did he get traded a year before that? I would say Jeff Garcia. If not Jeff Garcia, maybe Jim Drunkenmiller or something like that. But I'm going to say Jeff Garcia. Jeff Garcia. Tommy Huxley says Rams will be worse on defense and better on offense. Their new philosophy is scoring a lot of points. So that is a downside to a defense, right? So if your offense can score a lot of points quickly, that means your defense is going to be on the field much longer. That means they're going to get tired much more quickly. and they're just going to get worn out. So that's why it's important, to have a good running game, control the time of possession. So that way your defense is on the field, least amount of times. So that is a good point, Tommy. Looks like David says he feel bad for Russ. Got to deal with J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones, Bosa, Donald. I see them going fourth in the division. It will be very tough for every quarterback in the division. But I honestly, I think the Cardinals will probably have the worst record. But I've said before, I think that every team in the NFC West could have double-digit wins. That's what I feel. I think every team could have double-digit wins in the NFC West. And I wonder, can 4 teams in the division go to the playoffs? Can that even happen? I don't even know, but I think all 4 teams will probably have at least 10 wins in the division. And it'll come down to December. Those December games will be very important. Hood Scratcher Lady, what's good? Hood Scratcher Lady says, I can always come here for a smile. I just love your energy. I appreciate you, Hood Scratcher Lady. I love your energy too. I love your laugh when you be doing your scratchers, your coins. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep representing. And thanks for tuning in to Jay in the Bay, the faithful, the Niner Empire. Thanks for coming through, Hood Scratcher Lady. Let's see. Payout Time says, also, I think our depth will improve a lot this year. Young players that will develop. And that's the thing, Payo, it's unproven players. So, as you in Rams house, you guys are Rams aficionados. You know your players backwards and forwards. But for other teams and fans, we don't know. Besides your 3 big players on defense, we don't know the other players. So, at least for me, they are unproven in my eyes. And, we'll wait until, they make a play. And I appreciate everyone in the chat. If you're enjoying the stream, make sure you leave, a thumbs up. And also everyone watching on that good old Spotlight Sports Network, leave a thumbs up. And I appreciate you guys coming through. Let's see. Rams House also says, who is your toughest game this year? So I believe all our division games will be tough. But the other games outside of our division will probably be, we got a Colts game, Sunday Night Football, prime time. That's going to be a tough game. If Aaron Rodgers stays with the Packers, our home opener, which also will be on prime time, that's going to be a tough game. I believe we have the Titans 2 days before Christmas, a Thursday night game. That's also going to be a very tough game as well. Just like Lennon Wolf says, he likes my 49ers content. I appreciate you, Lennon, man. I appreciate you. You're always welcome. Let's see. Harden54 says, thumbs up for the video. Good people. Niner Sickness says, at Payo Time, Xbox or PlayStation. Yeah, what do you play on Payo Time? Let's see. Payo Time says, haha, I play with all teams, but mainly the Rams. Yep, that's what I figured. He says, I play Madden 03 on the GameCube. I'm too cheap to upgrade. Plus, the Rams are so good in 03. That's funny. It's nothing like playing them old school games like Nintendo GameCube, like you said, like Sega Dreamcast, the earlier PlayStations. Like, yeah, those are always fun to play with. Yeah, and the Rams, the Rams in those 2000s when they had those dark blue and gold unis with like Marshall Faulk, Warner, Holt, Bruce, like those teams gave me nightmares as a 49er fan because y'all were so good. Like, there's a reason why you guys had the best turf on offense. So this all respect there because you guys were really, really, really good in those 2000s. Looks like Lennon says, who do you think will be the number 1 defense this year? That's a good question because they rate defenses based on points allowed and all that good stuff, yards allowed. Miami will be pretty good. I think the Rams obviously will be good. The Niners will be pretty good. The Buccaneers have a chance to be pretty good. They're bringing back a lot of their starters, so we'll see. Yeah, I agree, Tommy. Aaron Donald is definitely first ballot Hall of Famer. Oh, that's cool. Payo Time, I was right. Yeah. With Jeff Garcia. All right. Let's see. Tommy says Rams are also a run first team, so Akers should be successful this year. Yeah, Akers is definitely good. He's a good running back. And that's one thing that the Niners were pretty good at last year was the run defense. Run defense was pretty good. The pass defense was really good. Sometimes we allowed, I believe we allowed though like about on average about 24 points. So that's like average in the NFL. And the Rams were like the number one team in points allowed, but that's definitely an area we can work on is points allowed. But the run defense and pass defense was pretty good. Looks like David says the Seahawks will have the worst record O line and cornerbacks are trash. Yeah, I mean the the Seahawks they did get Gabe Jackson from the Raiders. He's a pretty good guard. But yeah, their cornerbacks, they leave a little bit to be desired. Their best cornerback last year, Shaquille Griffin, went to the Jacksonville Jaguars this past offseason. So yeah, their corners could be in some trouble. Let's see. Niners Sickness says based on the 2021 roster, who's 1, 2, and 3 and 4 in the West. So I think the Niners and Rams will probably be 1 and 2. I'll just say the Niners will be 1 in the division, probably about 12 and 5, maybe 13 and 4. I think the Rams will be second. The Seahawks will be third, and then I think the Cardinals will be fourth. But I think it will be a tight division, and December will be a huge month for the NFC West. And I think all four teams will probably have double-digit wins. I can see that. So Pale Time says, I think with the math of the extra game with the 7 seed, it's possible, but highly unlikely for 4 teams from the same. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, there's probably, it's no way. Like, maybe you could get 3 teams in the division, but it also depends on, if the NFC East is good or because, if there's 4 teams in the division and none of them have a winning record, and of course whoever has the most wins the division by default, and then you have another division where all 4 teams have winning records, all 4 teams are good. It sucks that 1 team or 2 teams could get left out. Thanks for coming through, Rams House. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I'll probably, we've already reached 2 hours. I'm surprised we even reached this long. I thought this was going to be a short show. There wasn't much news going out, but yeah, I appreciate everyone coming through. Let me continue with these comments. Let's see. David says, to be honest, I got Rams 1, Cardinals 2, Niners 3, Seahawks 4. 49ers and Cardinals are close, but I don't think their defense is going to be the same after Robert Saleh leaving. So there will be a difference. Robert Saleh, is an experience. He knows how to game plan against an opposing offense. He was experienced in calling certain plays in certain situations. So that'll be new for DeMeco Ryans. But DeMeco Ryans, I think he's in a great situation because of the players that are already on the team. Got the best middle linebacker in the NFL, an experienced secondary. We got depth among the defensive line with Bosa coming back healthy. So, I think DeMeco Ryans is definitely in a great situation. Pale Time says, look for a linebacker, Kenny Young, to be huge next year. Okay, I'll keep my eye out for him on the Rams. It's like Tommy doesn't agree with the good old Cardinals. Oh, man. David says, honestly, I think the 49ers defense is going to be the same as Robert Saleh leaving and Jimmy G at the quarterback. I mean, the defense, as long as we get a pass rush, I think the defense will be just fine. If we can't rush the passer, kind of like last year when it was basically carry, hider, or bust, if it's like that again this year, the defense will be in trouble. But if we are able to get a good pass rush, I think we can definitely have one of the upper echelon defenses. David Renteria, Kyle Shanahan had 1 winning season. That was when they went to the Super Bowl. So that's a great point. I mentioned that earlier in the stream, David, that Kyle Shanahan does have a lot to prove. Unfortunately, the years that we didn't go to the playoffs, Jimmy G got hurt. But yeah, Jimmy G and Kyle Shanahan have a lot to prove this year. David Renteria says, great content, though. Keep it up. I appreciate you coming through, man. Thanks for tuning into the stream. David Renteria says, see ya. Thanks for tuning in, man. Monica says, you all got Mayweather tonight, right? Yeah, that fight is tonight on a Sunday. That's funny. Usually it's on a Saturday night. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Mayweather wins. Looks like David agrees. And Tommy says, yeah, with the pass rush dominating, it doesn't matter. Who the hell is DC? It won't matter as long as the pass rush, is getting there. But as far as like, in-game adjustments, how does D'Amico do that? What does he call on a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 9? Will he blitz more than Salah? Will he play more zone, more man? So, and he's never called plays before. So, there could be an adjustment, but D'Amico's definitely in a great situation, and he has respect of the players. So it's been great conversing with the faithful, with the Niner Empire. It's been great conversing with all of you. I had fun on a Sunday. Live streaming for me is it's like an escape. I have fun doing this. I don't know if y'all could tell, but I have fun when I do my live streams. And I love having the other fans, the Rams fans coming in, the Cardinals fans. Everyone kept it respectful, so we all good. And I think I will be signing out. Let's see. Tommy says, but Ryans was a quarterback of a defense, a great player. Yeah, that's very true. Ryans did play the linebacker position at the highest level. He's a unanimous All-American at Alabama, and he also got Defensive Rookie of the Year when he was drafted by the Texans. So there's no doubt Ryans has done it at the highest level as far as playing. See you later, pay your time. I'll see you later, Monica. And yep, and D'Amico Ryans also was a linebacker coach, and he helped cultivate Greenlaw and Warner. So that's also a huge plus. But I appreciate everyone coming on. Probably do another live stream, hopefully Tuesday night, maybe Wednesday. I guess we'll see what happens. If there's any breaking 49er news or any relevant NFL news. But I appreciate everyone coming through to the stream, everyone from that good old Spotlight Sports Network, everyone watching on Jay and the Bay YouTube. And you can also subscribe, like the video, check me out on IG and Twitter. And it's been a great night. And everyone, thanks for tuning in to your boy, Jay in the Bay. See you guys in the next one. Appreciate everyone coming on.